All right. Hello, Division 4. For our social studies, as we're continuing on Canada's founding peoples, we just finished a nice unit on the First Nations and Métis and the Aboriginal and the Inuit and the First Peoples, as we would call. And then we're moving to our second unit within this larger unit of the founding peoples, and it's the French in Canada. And of course, they play a very large part even today on the how Canada became such a great nation. And so just grabbing our highlighters, and we'll go through this one page of page 23. It says here, the next time you pour yourself a bowl of cereal, be sure to pay attention to the writing on the box. I'm sure we've all done that. You're sitting at the breakfast table, and you've probably already noticed that includes both French and English. And that's something that we've all probably have noticed, or you probably don't notice it because you've always just seen it that way. But have you ever wondered why? And I'm sure some of you have, and you know the reason why, but it's just not a cereal boxes that have writing in two languages. So do all kind of other containers. The labels on cloths are the labels on clothes and the signs at the airport. Can you think of any other examples? Well, I think anywhere we look, maybe not so much in the traffic signal or signs, but I know in any kind of packaging that you buy at a store, you would see dual language. However, though, you probably get some mail that would be in double languages. Probably most things that you purchase in Canada would have both languages. And that the key word there of having two languages, meaning bilingual. Bilingual. You can see the word bi meaning two, like in bicycle, two wheels, and a country, of course. Lingual is a derivative of the word language, and of course the country. The writing on the cereal boxes, clothing labels, and other items that you found is a sign that that Canada is a bilingual country. This means that it has two official languages. And an official language is one that is used by the government. The official language is one that is used by the government in conducting the business of the nation. Okay, pretty important. So, which means that if you want to run for office, like prime minister, you got to have both languages. And that's why probably right now with this situation that's going on with the COVID, you've probably all have sat down and listened to Justin Trudeau, and you'll often hear it go back and forth between French and English, just for that very reason that we're bilingual. And he has to, as a part of the job description, he has to be able to speak both languages. And how well can he speak French? Your guess is better than mine, because I don't really understand all the stuff he says. I understand some through my learning of French, but for the most part, he speaks English very well. But I understand he is actually a very good French speaker as well. Many languages are spoken in Canada, but only have two official to have the official status. Right, so there's hundreds of languages in Canada. The two official languages, of course, are French and English, and that all stems from this unit we're doing, which makes you think, why is one of the Aboriginal languages not an official language? Something to think about. So bilingualism, hey, that's a good spelling word, means that Canadians have the right to receive government services in French and English no matter where they live in the country. So if you walk into any government building, you can say, can you please do it in French for me, please? Whether or not you can understand it or not, but the thing is, you have that right as a Canadian. You have that right to do that. Of course, they may carry on their daily lives in any language they choose. So at home, you can carry on the way you want, but when you go to these services, they have to be able to offer them in the other two languages. I mean, those two main languages. Of course, they may. No one is forced to speak a certain language, and that's true too. But when dealing with the government, people can expect to receive services in one of the official languages. Okay, so that's where it is. Like, where many of us have different languages at home, that's fine. It's all, in the popularity, and there might even be more people speaking those languages than French. But as of right now, we have two official languages. So if you go to a government office, they have to offer it to you in both those languages. However, though, I think they offer it in more than those two languages, but that's the bare minimum. French-speaking people live in communities all across Canada. So there are communities, even within here where we live, just across the water over the Port Mann Bridge in Coquitlam, there's a little town called Millardville. And Millardville, you've probably been through it. It's near, it's just off of the Port Mann Bridge. It's kind of near where IKEA is in Coquitlam. That little area is actually called Millardville, and it's a French-speaking place. And if you actually drove down there, some of the stores actually have French names, which are kind of cool. It is common to see French names on the map of Canada. And most of us can watch French language programs on TV or buy French language books in our communities. Okay. Can you find other signs of bilingual in your community and in your provinces? Like I said, you can walk down the street and you could probably see it. Packaging is obviously the most obvious, but is there other places that you can see it or other signs? Sorry about this photo, but it's Celine Dion, and I don't know if some of you might know her. Her claim to fame, of course, is I believe she sang the title track to Titanic. I can't think of the name of the title, but it's that big, booming, very powerful voice. Is probably the most known Canadian in her world. Her CDs sell millions of copies, and she has won many awards. Celine Dion is Quebecois, who was born near the city of Montreal. She made her first hit. She made her first hit when she was only 13 years old. She sings and records in both French and English. Why it's important to show kind of where she is. Of course, she's still performs to this day. I believe she was in Las Vegas for a while. But what's really neat is that she was French first, but then when she broke over to the English side, that's when she really took off. And her, like I said, that one hit was the really one that really broke her open. And, she's very talented. And there's obviously quite a few other songs, which I don't know off the top of my head, but you can Google her and see. But anyway, she's a proud Canadian, proud French Canadian, who you can actually, when you hear in interviews, you can probably hear a little bit of a French accent, but because her native tongue or her first tongue or language is, of course, French. And that's the unit we are discussing. All right, until next time.